present on human respiratory system and its radiography. So as we all know that the human respiratory system is a biological system that consisting of series of organs which are responsible for taking in oxygen and expelling carbon dioxide. The primary organ of respiratory system are the lungs. Here you can see the respiratory system consists of nose. Here you can see the nasal cavity, the pharynx, that is the throat, larynx, the voice box, trachea, windpipe, bronchi, and the lungs. Respiratory system is divided into two, that is upper respiratory system and lower respiratory system. This includes, means the upper respiratory system includes nose, means the nasal cavity, pharynx and its associated structure. But the larynx is not the part of the upper respiratory system. It is a part of the lower respiratory system. So lower respiratory system includes larynx, trachea, bronchi, lungs. Yes. So upper respiratory tract and its radiography. As I have said that upper respiratory system includes the nose, nasal cavity, pharynx, and its associated structure. So the main function of this respiratory organ is to filter, warm, and moisten the air and conducted air into the lungs. So during the inhalation process, the air passes into the nasal cavity through the nostrils where the air is cleaned from harmful dust particles or bacteria by nose hair, which we call cilia, and sticky mucus. Nasal bone. So if nasal bone get fractured, it may obstruct the air pathway and may affect the upper respiratory system. So by the nasal bone lateral view, we can check whether there is a fracture or not. So here you can see in this, can you see my cursor? So this is the nasal bone and here is the fracture. So by the fracture, it may affect the respiratory system. Waters view, as the sinuses is also a part of the respiratory system. So we all knows that there are four pair of the sinuses, that are the frontal sinuses, ethmoid sinuses, maxillary sinuses, and sphenoid. So what is the important function of the sinuses here in the respiratory? That they are draining mucus from nasal cavity to the naropharynx, which helps to regulate the pressure inside the nasal cavity. So there are four pairs of the sinuses. So in Waters view, we get maximum visualization of the maxillary sinus, and we perform a radiography view for this, that is the Waters view. And in the means the basic radiographic positioning for the Waters view is that the OM line should be at 45 degree, and both external auditory meters should be equidistant from the image receptor. So in Waters view, well visualization of the maxillary sinus, but the sphenoid sinuses is well visualized with the skull lateral view or facial lateral view. Here you can see the sphenoid sinuses. And the spatial view, this is the caudal view. It is also known as the occipital frontal view. In this, the frontal sinuses is well visualized. And the radiographic positioning for this is the OM line, auditory orbital meter line, should be 0 degree, and corded angulated X-ray beam with 15 to 20 degree exit from the lesion. Here you can see the frontal and the ethmoid sinuses is well visualized. Pharynx. Pharynx also the part of the upper respiratory tract. It is just started right after the nasal cavity and it connected with below the larynx, and it is having a common pathway for food and the air. It is also provide a vital role in speech production, that is phonation, and fighting infection because it containing adenoid or a collection of lymphatic tissues. And pharynx divided into three regions. Here in this picture, you can see in the yellow color, this is the part of the pharynx, nasopharynx. This is the uppermost part of the pharynx. In pink color, this is the oropharynx, and the lowermost, that is the laryngopharynx. Since it contains the adenoid, so to see the adenoid, the best view is nasopharynx lateral view. So in this view, neck is slightly extended. By doing this, so we have a clear passage. Here you can see in this image, you see the air is in the from the nostril, pharynx, larynx, and inside the trachea. So if there is any inflammation of the adenoid or any enlargement of the adenoid, it will obstruct this pathway. So to evaluate, to examine the adenoid, this is the best view for the to see the adenoid. Oropharynx is basically oropharynx is a lateral view. We can see the dysphagia with the barium, or also for the foreign body. Intra-swallow aspiration. Basically, what is the intra-swallow aspiration? When something, means the food enters the airway instead of the esophagus. Means when the food get towards the trachea, not in the esophagus, that is the intra-swallow aspiration. And this may be due to any swallowing abnormality. So there are some common clinical indication for the upper respiratory tract, like influenza, sinusitis, pharyngitis, allergic rhinitis, whooping cough, and epiglottis. Now, lower respiratory tract and its radiography. As I said, that lower respiratory consists of larynx, trachea, bronchi, bronchioles, and lung. Lower respiratory tract composed of the trachea, bronchial tree, here you can see inside the lung, alveolus and the alveoli. And alveoli is the smallest functional unit of the lung. Here in this picture, you can see this is the respiratory zone, and it is composed of respiratory bronchioles, alveolar duct, and alveoli. Here, the gases exchange takes place because they have a thin wall specialized, which promotes diffusion of gases between alveolus, the blood in the pulmonary capillary. Here you can see. So the larynx. Larynx is a part of the lower respiratory tract, and it is commonly known as the voice box. And this is the uppermost organ of the neck. It is involving in breathing and also helps in producing sound or protecting the trachea against food aspiration. So, if you want to examine the larynx, it is better examined with the barium. And it is necessary to take the information of piriform sinuses. Here you can see the D1 and the C1. C is the piriform sinuses and D is the valleculi. So this should be included. This should be mandatory to include when we have to study the larynx. So here the annotation: A is the laryngeal vestibule, B is the trachea. You can see air inside the trachea. Piriform sinus here, or in this AP view is here. D is the valleculi, here these two sinuses, and E is the ventricles. Here you can see. So it is best visualized with the barium because barium get outlined these. This is the normal soft tissue neck, AP and lateral view. Here you can see this is a normal AP view. In this, we can comment on subglottic airway or the whether it is in midline or not. we get more information with the lateral view. We can comment on the epiglottis, hyoid bone, trachea, or as well as the retropharyngeal space. Trachea. Trachea is a flexible cylindrical tube, and it is 4 to 5 inch long and 1 inch in diameter. It is also called as windpipe. It is extended through the mediastinum and lies anterior to the esophagus and inferior to the larynx. Basically, this diversion means this bifurcation is at the level of the sternal angle, and after the bifurcation, it is divided into right and left primary bronchi or main bronchus. Here you can see the bifurcation is known as the carina. In this chest X-ray, you can see. So generally, we do the chest X-rays in AP or PA to see the tracheal deviation. So tracheal deviation is maybe away or towards the disease. So if patient having pneumonectomy, pleural, fibrosis, then or atelectasis or agencies, then the trachea is deviated towards the disease. Or if patient having pneumothorax, pleural effusion, large mass, mediastinal mass, then the trachea is deviated away from the diseases. So sometimes post insertion of endotracheal tube, we have to perform chest X-ray in AP or PA. Here you can see this is the endotracheal tube, and the white arrow shows the tip of the tube. The tip of the tube always should be above from the carina. That should be 2 centimeter above, and the tip should be between T2 to T4, means thoracic vertebra 2 to thoracic vertebra 4. Anatomy of lung. As we all know, the lung occupies most of the space within the thoracic cavity. It has a conical shape superiorly, and towards the midline, the lungs are separated from each by the mediastinum. Mediastinum is the part where the heart or other arteries are placed. The medial aspect of each lung and the site of entrance or exit are called the hilum of the lung. This portion, this is the hilum of the lung. As we know that left lung are divided into two lobes, upper and the lower, by the oblique fissure, and this is smaller than the right one, and it has a cardiac notch here. Here you can see. And right lung is divided into three lobes by the oblique and the horizontal fissure. And this is the right one is more superior than the left side one due to the liver. Here you can see this is the bronchial atresis, and bronchial atresis is a defect in the development of the bronchi. Here you can see in this picture. So there are some radiographic anatomy of chest. Here you can see A is denoted the right clavicle, B is the scapula. Here you can see this is the inferior angle of scapula. C is the right fourth anterior rib. D is the eighth rib. E denoted the costiophrenic angle. F is the left lung apex. G is the aortic arch. We can also call this aortic knuckle. H is the hilum. I, this portion here to here, this is the heart. J is the left lung base, and K is the right hemi diaphragm. The white arrow show. This is the fundic gas. This is the lateral radiographic anatomy of chest. Here you can see A is the esophagus, B is the trachea. In trachea, you can see there is a air. C is the lung hilli. D is the heart chilote. You can see a small or shallow shadow of the heart. E here, this is the lung apices. F denotes, here you can see this, when you track this is the scapula. G is the thoracic vertebra. H is the thoracic intravertebral foramen. I, this is the superimposed posterior ribs. Here to here, all are the superimposed. J is the costophrenic angle. And K is the diaphragm. Means the yellow arrow shows this is the diaphragm. So chest AP X-ray and chest AP supine X-ray. Basically, chest AP is gives basically done to see the lungs, bony thoracic cavity, and mediastinal part. But if we have to comment on the air fluid level, then we have to go. We have to do this AP X-ray in erect position. AP supine generally is done with the patient who are not too well or not able to stand. So for those patients, we can do AP supine. So with AP X-ray supine, we cannot comment it on the air fluid level. So the difference between AP and PA X-ray. Here you can see this is the PA chest X-ray and this is the AP view of the chest X-ray. So the basic difference in AP and PA is, in PA view, we generally found that the scapula is in peripherally of the thorax. Here you can see it is not obscure your lung, but at the same time in AP view, some part of the means middle border of the scapula is always obscure the lung. Clavicle projected over lung field. Here you can see it obscure the apices of the lung. In PA view, in AP view, clavicles are just above the apex of the lung field. But the main difference between PA AP is heart magnification. Basically, the heart in AP view is relatively large because it is far from the detector. Here you can see, because heart is anteriorly, if we do it in AP view and due to the diversion of the beam, also we get the magnification. If the source to image receptor distance is small, we get more diversion, and because the diversion of the beams, we get more magnified images. Apicogram. Apicogram basically demonstrate the lung apices. Generally, this is obscure in AP or PA view, but with the lordotic position, we can get clear apices with some angulation in the body position, or in means the lordotic position is performed with the horizontal beam. Here you can see with this position, we get a clear apices here. The clavicles are projected superiorly in this view. So this is my last slide of my presentation.